But then it turned out that I'm a sex addict, too. And frankly, it'd be pretty amazing if I wasn't a sex addict with a body like this. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely Vanessa. You kicked my balls so hard, I got more lemon juice. I think any guy who's been on television with any regularity is a sex addict. Yeah, because there are women out there, if they've seen you on TV and then they spot you in real life, they turn into baseball vendors. Fresh pussy. Hot taco. Get ya beaver. They're fucking slinging that shit. And they don't care if you're the guy from the Subway commercials. Yeah, I know. I'm very upset with him. There's never been a dorkier looking motherfucker on television, period, ever. And I always knew whether he was at Subway or not, he was eating fresh. But then he shows up on the news because it turns out he likes it even fresher than I thought. So Jackass came out and I was so ready to mow down beef. One time, early days, I was fooling around with this girl, and as soon as she pulled out my wiener, she got all serious, and she looked at me and said, "I was in a bad accident." And I'm thinking, what the fuck? And then she says, "Get ready to have a really good time." And then she pulled out her teeth. Yeah, all of her upper front teeth were attached to this retainer thing, like this. But it was all of her upper front teeth. But don't feel bad for me. Because when those teeth came out, it was awesome. I couldn't wait to tell Knoxville and the guys. I was like, dudes, that girl wasn't giving me a Hummer. It was a gummer. And they loved the story so much, they tracked down a shark with no teeth to bite me in the movie, which is why there's a scene called the whale shark gummer. Yeah. And I bet you thought Jackass was shallow. So, the third Jackass film, I was cleaning so sex addiction was getting a little crazier. We're promoting the movie in Texas. You know where? Fucking Austin. And I'm at this event, I get to talking to a pretty cute girl. I tell her, man, I'm ready to get the hell out of here. You think you could give me a ride to my hotel? And I can tell she's down. She's like, yeah, we leave right away. We're getting into her car, her two friends, running through the parking lot. Steve-O, do you want 2 more girls? Well, I certainly didn't want to be rude. So I get into the car with 3 girls. I'm sitting in the back seat, panicking. The whole way to the hotel, I'm just thinking, this is the worst possible time to be a premature ejaculator. Because that's me, man. If a fucking tree falls in the woods, you can pretty much bank on me blowing a load before it lands. And I got a pretty good idea what's about to go down. But I can't imagine all three girls getting a turn. Any kind of a turn. I can't imagine all three of them getting a glimpse of my dick without it exploding. So right away, I start concentrating. Grandma taking a shit. I'm so stressed out. We get back to my hotel. I open up the door to my room. We all walk in. I get on the bed with the original girl, while the two extra girls are just lurking in the doorway like bouncers. The less beautiful extra girl says to the more beautiful extra girl, so, like, are we here to cock block, or are we stepping in? Exact words. The more beautiful extra girl points at the bed and says, get in there and make yourself useful. So I'm laying there. I feel these two hands lightly tickling their way up my legs. They're getting closer and closer. I'm thinking, why are you doing that? Fucking stop! I'm starting to think nobody's gonna get a turn. Like the opportunity of a lifetime is about to vanish with my boxers glued to my left leg. And then out comes my wiener. And the less beautiful extra girl starts giving me the toothiest blowjob you ever heard of. It was like a fucking crocodile was trying to suck my dick. I look down and she's got it in a death roll. And I'm laying there thinking, fuck yeah, she's keeping me in the game. It was like Shark Week on my dick. And that was what I needed. But then it wasn't her turn anymore. So now the more beautiful extra girl, she starts sucking my wiener and she's doing way too good of a job. So I freaked out and I shoved her off. Ah! As quick as I could, I got my dick back into the jaws of hell. I was so thankful for having an ugly-ass girl chewing on my schlong. It was a miracle. All three girls got a turn. So now the original girl, she takes over and like, I can't hold out anymore. So I just said it, I'm gonna come. But I didn't say it like that. I said, because you gotta say something. If you don't say anything, that is rude. I will tell you why it is so important to alert a lady. Because one time, I blew a load into a girl's mouth with no warning at all. Not even a courtesy grunt. And she held it in her mouth. She came back up and went to give me a kiss. And she fucking spit that shit into my mouth. And I swallowed it. No, I did not. That was a lie. I did not swallow it. That was when I found out I'm a spitter. But it was in there long enough for me to know what it tastes like. It tastes like shame. That mouthful of my own cum was the second worst thing that ever happened to me during an intimate encounter. I brought a stripper home from the titty bar. Came up with the genius idea to eat her pussy. I got down there and I could tell she had been working very hard that night. Maybe even squeezed in an hour of hot yoga. I felt like I was making out with a pile of sweaty nickels. It was like I was using my tongue to scrape mold out of a broken refrigerator. But that's not what made it so bad. There I was, licking her sweaty, stinky pussy, and she farted. I swear. And that fart did not sound like... That fucking fart sounded like... It was a fucking steamer. I could feel the heat. And as soon as it was over, I never looked her in the eye ever again. Not any eye. Buttholes. Real quick, let's talk about ass fucking. I never understood the philosophy of sticking your dick up someone's ass. But one night, I was like, you know, with a lady, feeling adventurous. I lubed up my finger with some spit. I worked it into her butthole. And would you believe it? I found a terrorist in the cave. Something was poking back. It was a piece of shit. Totally loaded chamber. The train had not left the station. Now I'm older. And at a certain point, it seems like running around trying to scam on chicks becomes kind of pathetic, you know? I decided if I'm gonna be happy in my life, I need to learn how to be in a healthy relationship, right? How many of you guys are in relationships? All right. You guys got kids? Yeah, fuck that, right? I've always been pretty sure that having kids isn't for me. One time I was getting